Hey guys, and welcome back to your one room schoolhouse. If you're new here, my name is Mary Barfield and I'm a homeschooling mama to a first and a third grader. And we are well into our third year of homeschooling now. And we've made some changes at the beginning of this year with trialing and error some new curriculum and then bringing back in some old curriculum that we missed. And our schedule has changed a ton in the first couple of weeks, especially since those initial curriculum pick videos I did for this year. So with that, I've had quite a few of you in my recent videos asking, can I do an updated video on what our weekly schedule looks like? And I thought that was actually a really great idea with all the changes that we've made. And we've been in this new schedule now for a couple of weeks and we feel very comfortable with it. And I can tell you it's not going to be changing moving forward. Thankfully, we have found our rhythm. It is going really well. So before I turn the camera around and I share with you our schedules, I just wanted to kind of do a brief overview of what I would be touching upon in this video. So the first thing I'm going to hit with you guys is we are going to review our timetable. Timetable is just a fancy word in the Charlotte Mason community for our schedule, but what does that weekly schedule look like? It has changed significantly, and I'll share more details with you once I get the camera flipped around. The other thing that I think is important to share with you guys is my daughter's individual schedules for their individual subjects. So now that both my daughters are reading, they both love to have their own schedules in their working binders. If you don't know what a working binder is, I did a video on it. I'll leave it linked down below for you guys. We are loving our working binders. It is keeping us organized and on task and not feeling like I'm running after a million different instructor guides or workbooks or notebooks or things like that. But each of my daughters have their own copy of this schedule in the front of their working binder because they're now reading. What that helps them with is they feel a little bit more independent. They know what they're doing for today for their individual subjects, but it also reduces the, hey mom, what are we doing today? Because trust me, anytime I can reduce a question like that is super repetitive, it helps my sanity just a little bit. So those are the documents I'm going to be going over with you. With that, I'm going to share, if you're not familiar with some of the changes we've made, some of those will be revealed in here. I think I pretty much shared everything with you guys though in my update videos. So if you want to go check those out, I'll leave a link down below for those. And that'll kind of catch you up to where we are. But for the most part, anything that you aren't aware of will be talked about when going over these schedules. So without further ado, I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to get this camera turned around and we are going to get into these schedule so you can see what's going on now and what's working really well for us. All right, y'all, I thought it'd be best to start with our overall of our timetable with you. So let's deep dive into that and what that looks like. Some big changes you will notice if you've been following me for any amount of time is that we are no longer doing 5 days a week of formal curriculum. We are doing 4 days, and that is because we have joined a Charlotte Mason nature hike group locally, which I'm super excited about. Also, if it's not a day that we will do a hike with them, I thought I would save this day for a field trip, or if we have some overflow, we can, if we're falling behind this week, we can do that, of course, when we get back from one of our hikes or our field trips. The other thing that I like to point out with my timetables is that I never do a start time or an end time for my subjects or my day because I like to leave that fluid. We might start school at 8:30. Some days we start at 9:30 or 10 if somebody's sick or something crazy is going on, right? So what I do instead, just from a planning perspective, is I like to put the time that I have conservatively allotted for that subject. And I've gotten pretty good at guesstimating the appropriate times, but I always like to add a little bit more buffer in there. And the reason I do that is that I like to kind of add up my time as I'm scheduling and planning for the next school year and say, are we around the 4 hour mark, or are we doing like 6 hours of school? Because we definitely don't want to do that. I know we're no longer in the territory of doing 1 hour per day because I don't have younger students anymore. We're starting to get into heavier schooling, but I don't want to do 6 hours. I like to try and target about 3.5 hours of school, and that includes like our fun stuff, our morning basket, our enrichment subjects, things like that. And then the other thing I like to point out about how I organize this is I like to do a block system. Like I'm like, okay, this is our morning block, this is our history, our core, etc. And then I break it down into individual subjects as necessary. So you will notice that we are now doing morning basket first thing in the morning. Before we used to do core subjects first thing in the morning, but we're actually getting a lot of benefit out and enjoyment out of doing morning basket first. So 2 things we do daily are Spanish and poetry lessons, always. That is always at the beginning of every morning basket time, and that takes us about 20 minutes collectively. For our poetry, it's not just reading 1 poem a day, it is also every other day doing a copy work from that poem that we read that morning. I select an appropriate passage for my oldest daughter who's in third grade, which will be a little bit beefier, right? And then I pick a little bit of a lighter sentence for my first grader. But the copy work is something that we are doing daily now, whether it's through our poems or through our McGuffey readers. But our McGuffey readers, we do the copy work on Tuesday and Thursday. So I then select copy work from poems on Monday and Wednesday so that they're doing copy work at least daily. And then on the other days that we're not doing copy work with the poem, that is the opportunity for my oldest daughter, who is following not all of it, but a lot of the Ambleside Online Year 2. That's an opportunity for her to practice her recitation for that week. I know that Ambleside Online says to do recitation daily, but it's just not feasible right now with the schedule and the way we have it. Maybe next year we will. So doing it 2 times a week seems to be working really well for her. Then we do Spanish, which is through Homeschool Languages. We're loving it. It's going so well. We do 10 minutes of Spanish a day after that. And then our riches for the rest of our morning basket, I schedule about 25 minutes for that. And that kind of runs on a loop schedule, almost is the best way to explain it. I don't always follow this exactly, but I mean, a lot of times it does end up working out like this. So for example, we'll do our Burgess reading on Monday. That's Burgess Bird. And then I'll do Blossom and Root's artist study that day. And then Tuesday, I'll do the composer study from Blossom and Root. And then Wednesday, we'll actually do the physical art. But I try to pair up things like art, that takes a little bit of time. So listening to the folk song that week only takes like 3 minutes. So I combine those things together so that we're not trying to go over that 25-minute mark. Same with Burgess versus the artist. It only takes us 5 minutes to do an artist study and about 20 minutes to read Burgess Bird and then do a narration. So those combine well to make out 25 minutes. When I schedule these together, I try to combine things that will not go over 25 minutes together. And then I do James Harriet along with our handicraft, which is paper Sloyd right now. As of right now for term 2, I'm fairly certain we're going to do candle making, which will be super fun, but it'll also be perfect gifts for Christmas from the girls, which I love. And then geography, we are doing elementary geography as well as home geography, and we're just reading through those every other week, and that's going really well. And then for American Girl Health, we're just reading through the Feelings book from American Girl. And then once that's done, we will get into the Care and Keeping of You. I'm not doing everything in these books. I'm just doing what's age appropriate for them about like hygiene, taking care of yourself, things like that. Then once morning basket is done, then we move into our history block, and that is American Girl History. So American Girl History can look different depending on which girl we are doing the unit for, but for the most part, all I do is I just allot 30 minutes to read through and do the different activities 4 days a week. And then we're also including Dolaire's biography books from Ambleside Online Year 1 schedule. And we just, that's not every week. That's like, I don't know. I think it's like 4 weeks a term we do one, I think. And so I just leave that to be read on Wednesdays. And then I always make sure that we have at the end of the week time to pull out our history timelines and add anything in there from American Girl History, or for my oldest, she's doing Ambleside Online Year 2 history, if she wants to add something from there. But I just do that on our final day and just say, hey, anything we want to put into our timeline notebooks. So morning basket and history block, American Girl History, are our group subjects. After that, we split out and we start doing individual subjects. So that's where we move into our core subjects. Purple is my youngest daughter, pink is my oldest. I actually did not, for some reason, color code through science. I probably should have. So the Good and the Beautiful, TGTB, are the little hearts and hand units that I'm doing with my youngest daughter. So that should be purple. And then biology, I'm doing through elemental science with my oldest daughter, but we've kind of made our own version of that. We're doing, and that should be pink. So I kind of messed up the color coding there, but you get the idea. So I've just written core schedule here because this is just high level. So down here, I've expanded upon what core schedule is. Before I get into that, I just want to mention, so piano lessons we are doing through Hoffman Academy. We are loving it. It is going so well. And what I do is on the day that my youngest daughter is doing her science, my oldest daughter will go upstairs and do piano by herself, and then vice versa. And they are both, I mean, they're 6 and 8, and they love piano. They love doing their lessons with Mr. Hoffman, and his videos are very engaging. I don't have any issues right now with them doing them on their own. If that ever changes, we will rearrange things. But right now they're being pretty independent about it, and I'm just gonna let that go, and we're gonna go with it. But what I've also included under my oldest daughter's section is acronyms for the readings that she has to do for her history or her geography from Ambleside Online Year 2. So OIS is Our Island Story. So I do those readings normally on Monday. And then Tuesday, we're either reading Child's History of the World or This Country of Ours. They're never scheduled on the same week. So I just, on Tuesdays, that's that reading. Wednesday is left for our biography. So we are doing Little Duke, which is LD right now. And then in term 3, Joan of Arc will be the biography we're reading. So depending on which one it is, I do that reading on Wednesday. And then Thursday is saved for our geography reading. Right now we're doing Seabird. And once that's over, we will do Tree in the Trail, which is TNT. It's just my shorthand. It makes sense in my brain. So those we will complete after her math and language arts are done. Those are readings we will do together. So looking at the core subjects broken out. So CB core, Charlotte, that's my daughter. That's the stuff in purple. So for math, she is doing Math with Confidence 1, which she is about a week and a half away from finishing. And then we'll move into Math with Confidence 2. For language arts, we are doing the McGuffey Primer alongside of her companion notebook. I will get into this more when we go into the girls' schedules individually. For reading practice, she is doing Bookshark Language Arts 1 readers. When those are completed, I have Language Arts Level 2 readers. She'll move into those because she will finish those early. For additional phonics practice, she is doing the Good and the Beautiful 1 Language Arts booster card alongside of the Good and the Beautiful sight words for first grade, and we're about to move into the second grade ones. When she's done with booster card B, we'll move into booster card C. But she's not doing the full language arts. She's just doing the booster cards. And then alongside that, she is doing Explode the Code. Handwriting, she is doing the Good and Beautiful Level 1. And then we are also, for fun, on Thursdays doing Blossom and Root mini poems. If you don't know what I'm talking about, they're almost like Mad Libs that she includes in her Blossom and Root language arts program. And the girls love them. And I think they actually have a lot of value from a language arts perspective. For my oldest daughter, Emery, EB, that's her initials. Math, she's doing Math with Confidence Level 3. For language arts, she's doing the McGuffey Second Reader alongside her companion notebook that I created. It's in my Etsy shop if you want to go check that out. She is also, for reading practice, doing the language arts Level 3 Bookshark readers. And then for handwriting, she's doing the Good and the Beautiful 5, which is cursive. And then she also has in here her Ambleside Online Year 2 readings. And then little extras just for me to remember. For fun, we have mind benders that the girls can do. We have the Good and the Beautiful bird drawing, how to draw birds book that they can pull out if they want to do something like that. Piano practice, they have to do it 2 times per week outside of the lesson, which I have no problem getting them to do. They do it on their own. I don't have to ask. We've been doing free reads at night, or sometimes we'll do them in our morning basket if we have time, but generally we don't. And then for sports, they do soccer. We have a Ninja Warrior gym around the corner that they sometimes do in the winter when things kind of slow down with soccer. And then we also like to play golf as a family, so that's something else that we kind of throw in there. So that's their physical activity outside of all the jumping around that they like to do as well. So that's our overall weekly schedule and our timetable. Now I'm going to get into my girls' individual schedules. And again, these are in their working binders. I'm moving this over to the side because there's a little glare. It's the end of the day and the sun's coming in through my blinds and I can't seem to get rid of that little spot. So I've moved it off a little bit here to the side. So their weekly rhythms now are done on four days per week. Again, we leave that Friday open for our Charlotte Mason hiking group. So as you'll see, it's pretty repetitive. So 4 days a week, she does math, which is the Math with Confidence. She does McGuffey Reader, and 2 days equals 1 lesson within the primer book. So she gets 2 lessons done per week. Phonics includes the Good and the Beautiful booster cards B and C alongside that sight word list from the 1st and 2nd grade. And then she also does Explode the Code 4 times per week to really practice and reinforce those phonics. And then she reads 5 to 10 minutes from her Bookshark Language Arts 1 reader. And then when she finishes those up, she'll move into 2. So the only real difference here is that at the end of the day, Monday and Wednesday, she adds on a page of handwriting. And then on Thursday, she does mini poem. We're only doing 2 days per week of handwriting because we also do copy work every day. And I think copy work is a fantastic practicing tool for your handwriting, and I just don't want to overdo it. And right now she enjoys doing handwriting 2 times a week. I think if I made her do it every day, she might start to resist it just because it is so much writing for a first grader. And she's also a very young first grader. She just turned 6 at the end of August. So I don't want to kill her love of writing. already, right? I want to make sure that we don't put any barriers between her and enjoyment of writing. So 2 days per week seems to be plenty. Also, her handwriting is coming along swimmingly, and I don't think she needs anything more than that. So that's my first grader schedule. And then my third grader, very similar. She's going to do math 4 times per week. She does her McGuffey reader 4 times per week. Again, she's doing roughly about a lesson over 2 days. So she's getting 2 lessons done per week. Then she reads for about 15 minutes from her Bookshark Language Arts Level 3 reader because she's got more stamina, so she can go a little longer. And then same thing. She's only doing handwriting 2 times per week. Again, we do copy work every day, at least once per day. And I kind of trade off whether we do that copy work in print or if we do it in cursive. So she's getting plenty of practice. Her penmanship's great. I'm not worried about it at all. And then after we're done with the language arts and math, she then has her Ambleside Online Year 2 readings. And so down here, I've listed everything that we will be reading from there. Our Island Story, A Child's History of the World, This Country of Ours, Little Duke, Joan of Arc, Seabird, and Tree in the Trail. So it's history and 2 of the biographies from history, as well as geography. Sorry, I think I messed that up. I don't know what I just said. I'm going to repeat that. So it basically is the history spines, history biographies, and then 2 books for geography. The only other thing that we are bringing in scheduled is going to be Understood Betsy, which will be in the 3rd term. And I'll just basically swap out her reader, the Read 15. That'll include her Understood Betsy reading. And then the only other thing that I wanted to mention is that we are also doing free reads at night, like I said, or during morning basket, and a few of those are pulled from the Ambleside Online Year 2 and Year 1 books. So Year 2, she is getting some of those free reads in there that I don't want her to miss out on, like Door in the Wall. I think that's very appropriate for the history we're reading right now, things like that. So that's it. That's what my girls' individual schedules look like, as well as our new timetable. We've been doing this now for a few weeks, and it is going so well. I haven't had to tweak anything in a very long time, so I think we're safe to say that this is what it's going to be for the rest of the school year. It only took me about almost the first term to figure it out, but alas, here we are. But barring any complications, we will continue to follow something similar like this the following school year, and hopefully there won't be as many changes at the beginning of the year. But I feel like we finally found our pace this year. All right, y'all, I hope that was super helpful. If you are still in the throes of figuring out what you want your schedule to look like this year, maybe it give you some inspiration of different things you can try out in your own homeschool. Also, I love the aesthetics of the schedules. It just helps me really focus my brain on how to organize our day. I'm not somebody that can just look at, hey, we've got all this stuff to do and just like go for it and wing it. I'm somebody who has to have a plan. Does that plan change on a daily? Absolutely it can. We are very flexible with this. Although this is what I have written down, is this always what happens? No, of course not. But I need this in order to get things accomplished and be able to then tweak as necessary. But I hope that helped you out. If you have any questions about anything, leave those down in the comments. I love talking to you guys down there. If you are new to my channel and you love all things homeschooling, especially if you've got younger elementary students or your Charlotte Masoners, definitely hit that subscribe button. I feel like you might enjoy my content, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, y'all.